بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So moving on, we have now the first. So let's look here. So what we've done here, we've covered the muqaddimah. Yes, we've covered all of this. We had our exam and test on this as well. Yes, we discussed what is ilm tasreef, types of verbs according to the huruf, asli, thulathi, ruba'i, mujarrad, mazid, fi, then muta'addiyan, lazim. Now we can discuss al-fa'l, how to do tasreef. So if you have a fa'l thulathi, fa'l ruba'i, mujarrad, mazid, fi, fa'l lazim, fa'l muta'addi, all of these can either be madhi, mudari or amr. And how do you conjugate madhi, mudari and amr? Basically translating, it's basically the first one is this, the madhi, mudari, amr and ismun, fa'il, maf'ul. That's the main chapters in here. How to conjugate madhi, mudari, amr and ismun, fa'il, maf'ul. Yes? You got it? Okay. So amma al-madhi, as for the madhi, فهو الفعل الذي دل على معنى وجد في الزمان الماضي. It is الفعل الذي, how do you translate that? It is that verb, دل, what does دل mean? To show. It is that verb which shows, denotes, implies, gives a meaning. And ala is a maf'ul bihi ghayr sari, don't translate it literally. Is that verb which shows a meaning which was found in the fi zaman al-madi, in the past tense. It shows what? Something found in the past tense. You got it? Okay. For example, if I say daraba, let's say if I say shakara. If I say, for example, shakara, that's fi'l madi, isn't it? What does it show? Which meaning does shakara show? A shukr, should the meaning of shukr. In which tense? Past tense. Simple. You know what past tense is from. Now, there are two types of madhi. Ma'lum and majhul. Now, al-mabniyu lil-fa'ili minhu. Let me explain the structure. What does bana yabni mean? To build, to construct, to mold. Al-mabni is what? Ismul maf'ul. This is ismul maf'ul. This is ismul maf'ul of bana yabni. It's maf'ul of bana yabni. So it means what? It is, so al-mabniyu has been made, formed or molded. What has it been molded for? For the fa'il. And is who refers to al-madhi. Meaning, now, so basically, for example, if we have, I don't go through basic stuff, you know a lot of this basic stuff already anyways. If I have, for example, fa'ala, what comes after fa'ala? The fa'ala maf'ul bihi? Fa'ala zaynun. Therefore, this verb has been molded to accommodate what after it? And if I say, sumi'a, what's going to come after it? Which was originally what? No, naibul fa'il was originally what? Maf'ul bihi. So this is mabniyun li maf'ul. So it is naibul fa'il, sumi'a al-Qur'an. The Qur'an was heard. This is naibul fa'il. Naibul fa'il was originally what? Sami'a zaydun al-Qur'ana. So you call it mabniyun li maf'uli bihi. Do you understand? It becomes maf'ul. So now we say here, so fal-mabniyu lil-fa'il, that's a term. Fal-mabniyu lil-fa'ili, meaning fa'il ma'lum. So you can call it mabniyu lil-fa'il, you can also call it what? Fa'lun ma'lumun fa'iluhu. Same meaning. Whose fa'il is known, or which verb has been molded for the fa'il. Yes? So the mabni of the so that verb which has been molded for the fa'il from the madhi is what? This is the mubtada. This is the mubtada. And this becomes what? The khabar. So we can translate it simply as the fa'lul so we translate it here as the fa'lul ma'lum of the madhi is. So the fa'il ma'lum, the fa'il ma'lum of the past tense is this. You get it? So the mabniyu lil fa'il of the past tense is. Do you understand the translation? Are you following? Yeah. What is it? ما كان أوله مفتوحا Number one. أو كان أول متحرك منه مفتوحا. Is that word whose أوله, whose first, whose beginning, meaning first letter. Is that verb whose first letter is what? مفتوح. أو كان أول متحرك منه مفتوح. Or whose first متحرك is مفتوح. What does that mean? We'll explain that later on. So let me explain that, right? So let's say for example, is this going to be معلوم or is it معلوم? Why? وانقلبوا. Is that معلوم? وانقلبوا.
Yeah.
But is the first letter مفتوح? No. But what is مفتوح? The first متحرك is مفتوح. So if فعل معلوم, ماضي معلوم or ماضي مبني للفاعل must have the first letters متحرك, or if it starts with همزة الوصل, then the first متحرك must be مفتوح. Do you understand? Do you get it? Yes? So either the first letter is مفتوح or the first متحرك is مفتوح. مثاله نصر إلى نصرنا. We know this table from before. Yes, so نصر. So all of them have what? متحرك. The first letter is what? مفتوح. Okay? وقس على هذا. What's kiss? What's kiss mean? To kiss? Kiss this? No. Kiss is from what? قاس يقيس قياسا. قاس يقيس قياسا. What's it? What does it mean? Make a judgment, judge on this. قياس? قياس on this, meaning make a judgment on this. So based on this, based on nasara yansuru, so on this verb, which verb? On this verb, which verb was mentioned in the book so far? Nasara. Yes? So based on this verb nasara, so based on this verb, make your own judgment for the rest. So what's maf'ul bihi of kiss? All of these is, so do qiyas of this based on the verb that has been mentioned, which is what? Nasara. So based on nasara. So based on nasara. على هذا الفعل based on nasara. Based on nasara. What happens?
Oh, it's saying to do ansara, nasara.
Huh? Yeah, no, or any other verb. Any verb from Bab If'al, any verb from Bab. So that's a mujarrad verb, isn't it? Nasara. So the mazid fi verbs as well. So nasara was an example of mujarrad mazi, isn't it? So judge on this, judge on nasara, the mazid fi as well. Same thing. The first mazi is going to be what? The first letter of the mazi is going to be maftuh. Or awwal mutaharrikin minhu maftuhan. So the af'ala, mutaharrik, first mutaharrik. The first one is what? Maftuh. Yes? You understand? So based on this verb Nasara mentioned before, you can apply the rule to the rest of the verbs. The فعل ماضي معلوم or فعل ماضي مبني للفاعل, the first letter must be what? متحرك, or the first letter must be مفتوح, or the first متحرك must be مفتوح. Yes? Okay. You got it? Everybody following so far? Any questions online? Yeah, you following? Okay. Now he mentioned a rule here, قاعدة. What's the rule? ولا تعتبر. اعتبر يعتبر اعتبارا. Do not consider, count, take into consideration. Any of these things. Do not take into consideration what? The harakat of the alifat which come in the beginning. Meaning the rule is what? That the first letter must be mutaharrik, maftuh. Or the first mutaharrik must be maftuh. So either what? Either the first letter is maftuh or the first mutaharrik is maftuh. He's saying here, by the way, as a note, do not take into consideration the harakat of the alifat which come at the beginning. What comes at the beginning? For example, look, when you have basically hamzul wasl, alifat means basically what? The hamzatul wasli. So the in fa'ala, if ta'ala, if anlala, istaf'ala, if alalla, if aw'ala, and if alla. So all of these, what do you have at the beginning? Hamzatul wasl. Hamza for joining purposes. So really the verb is what? Fa'ala. But you can't pronounce it like that, do you? Can you? So what do you have to do? You have to bring Hamzatul wasl. So he's saying don't count these. Don't count these Hamza. So when we say Bab in fa'ala, if tahala, if anlala, isn't the first letter maksur? But then how can Al-Madhi mabni lil fa'il then? It's Hamzatul wasl. Wala ta'tabir. Don't look at the Hamza in fa'ala. Don't say so in fa'ala it can't be ma'loom because it's got a kasra. The rule is what? The first letter must be what? Maftuh. You say these don't count. It's the fa that counts. And here's a ta that counts. And here's the ayn that counts.
Is it the like the infa'ala, the noon is because it's got sukoon, so that's
So in here, so what he's explaining is that a madhi ma'loom, a madhi mabni ma'loom must have, the first letter must be what? Fatah. What's it here? But it's Hamzatul wasl, so you don't count this. That's why he made two rules above. In the previous lesson, he made two rules. Either you have to have what? Either the first letter is maftuh or the first mutaharrik is maftuh. And he's saying here that this Hamza on in fa'ala doesn't matter. Because this Hamza is only there for joining purposes. That's why if you have a wa before it, what happens? You don't say wa in fa'ala, you say what? One fa'ala, one qalabu saghirin. Wastaftahu. You don't say wa istaftahu, do you? So this Hamza, even though this Hamza has, this alif has a kasra, this Hamzatul wasl has a kasra, that doesn't affect the verb being ma'loom or majhul. Or mabni lil fa'il.
Saying that the first mutaharrik letter, so is the noon.
Had?
Saying the first mutaharrik letter, or the first mutaharrik letter has a fatha. So is saying the noon is got sukoon. Is that saying it's not mutaharrik because noon is also sukoon is also hasful.
Yeah, but we're not. So when we have to look at the first what's the first mutaharrik? The fa.
How come the noon isn't mutaharrik?
That's the way to read it. That's the word. That's how the way they always read it. With a sakin and a noon.
How come sukoon isn't counted as
Because sukoon is not haraka. Sukoon is halful haraka. Not having a haraka is sukoon. So you count the fa here. You count the ta in here. You count this. Yes. So he said, do not consider, when you look at this rule, do not consider the harakat of the alif in the beginning. Are you following? Why? فَإِنَّهَا زَائِدَةٌ, because these are extra letters. These are only there. تَثْبُتُ فِي الْإِبْتِدَاءِ. If you ibtida, what does ibtida mean? At the beginning. So if this word, like this word, in fa'ala comes at the beginning, then you will have to say in fa'ala, if ta'ala. For example, what comes in the Quran? اقتربت, you have to put a kasra here, don't you? Because where does the alif come? At the beginning. So you have to say اقتربت الساعة. So this Hamza, it got kasra, but it's only there fil ibtida'i, to help join. It's not a permanent fixture. That's why. So تثبت fil ibtida', it remains. It remains in the ibtida', meaning it remains at the beginning. وتسقط في الدرج. Darj means wasl. I mean joining. And it drops. Tasqutu. It drops when joining. So if you have any of these words with what before it? A waw or a fa or another mutaharrik. What happens then? So darj means what? Al-wasl. Joining. So what happens here? Istaftahu. Which bab is istaftahu from? Bab istif'al. If there was no waw, what would it have been? Istaftahu, isn't it? Tathbutu fil ibtida'i. But because it's darj, you're joining it to the word before it. What happens now? Tasqutu, it drops. So what does it become? Wastaftahu inqalabu. On its own, what would it have been? Kasra inqalabu. Tathbutu fil ibtida'. When you join it, tasqutu fil darji. Fanqalabu. So don't worry about the alif here. Do you understand? You following? Yes? وَالْمَبْنِيُّ لِلْمَفْعُولِ مِنْهُ. What does this mean? So this again. Minhu, we translate that as well. Of, and this who refers to al-Madhi. So, the mabni lil-maf'ul, meaning the fa'l majhul, or the fa'lun mabni lil-maf'ul. And I explained why it's called mabni maf'ul before. Because what would happen after it normally? It's molded to have what after it? The maf'ul bihi, which is now called na'ibul fa'il because it's marfu'. Yes? So the mabniyun lil maf'ul. The mabni lil maf'ul. That the madhi of the madhi, which is molded to accommodate the maf'ul bihi after it, which is now called what? Na'ibul fa'il. And what state is it in? Marfu' state. And another name for this is what? وهو الفعل الذي لم يسمى فاعله. Another name for مبني للمفعول is what? It's an Arabic name. الفعل الذي لم يسمى فاعله. Yes? How do you translate this? That it is that verb الذي فاعله. Whose what? Subject. And لم يسمى mean? Not mentioned or not named. Has not been mentioned, not been named. To call, to name, to mention, to name it. It's not been named in the text, not been pointed out in the text. So mabni lil-maf'ul is also called what? Fa'l al-majhul, mabni lil-maf'ul, or al-fa'l alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. So it's three names for it. What's the three names?
Is that a name or is just explaining what mabni is?
It is, but it's become like a name almost afterwards. Al-fa'l alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. Like it's quite a long name. It's easier to say al-fa'l al-majhul or al-fa'l mabni al-maf'ul bihi. But they also call it what? Alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. Al-fa'l alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. It's an explanation, but it's also become a name almost. Even this is an explanation, al-mabni al-maf'ul. But they actually call it that as well sometimes. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So moving on. So we said here that mabni lil-maf'ul, the fa'il majhul of the mudari, is also of the madhi, sorry, is also called al-fa'lu alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. There's two aspects. One is ma kana awwaluhu madhmuman. So the beginning. The first letter is madhmum. For example, fu'ila, fu'lila, uf'ila, fu'ila, fu'ila, to fu'ila, to fu'ila, to fu'lila. The first letter is what? Madhmum. Or, same thing. Awwalu mutaharrikin minhu madhmum. So for example, uftu'ila, ustuf'ila. So if you do ibtida, it'll be uftu'ila. Yes? But if you do what? If you do darj and you do wasl, it'll be waftu'ila. So say don't worry about this. You don't have to worry about that. Okay? So either the first letter is mutaharrik, or the first letter is madhmum, or the first mutaharrik is madhmum. Understood? And at the end, وَمَا قَبْلَ آخِرِهِ يَكُونُ مَكْسُورٌ أَبَدًا. The second last letter is going to be kasra, whether it's whichever bab. So two rules, one rule at the beginning and one rule at the end. What's the rule at the beginning? The first letter or the first mutaharrik must have what? Dhamma. And the second last letter must have what? Kasra. That's what he says here. So ما كان أوله مذموما كفؤل وفعلل وأفعل وفعل وفوعل وتفعل وتفوعل وتفعلل. All of these, the first letter is what? مذموم. أو كان أول متحرك منه مذموما. Or the first mutaharrik. Mutaharrik means that letter which has a haraka. Or the first mutaharrik is what? Madhmum. Like uftu'ila or ustuf'ila. Understood? And then he says here, وَهَمْزَةُ الْوَصْلِ تَتْبَأُ هَذَا الْمَذْمُومَ فِي الضَّمِّ. If you have a word like this, uftu'ila or ustuf'ila, if you do wasl, you do darj, you continue reading, it becomes, for example, waftu'ila. There's no haraka of the hamza, is there? Wastuf'ila, is there haraka on the hamza? No. But if you do ibtida, what do you do? Ibtida. What haraka would you read in the hamza? Wa hamzatul wasli, this. The hamzatul wasl tatba'u hadha al-madhmuma fi dham. And the hamzatul wasl follows the madhmum in dham. So it will also be uftu'ila or ustuf'ila. Understood? Are you following? Ji. And the last rule is وَمَا قَبْلَ آخِرِهِ يَكُونُ مَكْسُورًا أَبَدًا. And the second last letter will always be maksur For example, nusira. So you have here a kasra. You have a kasra. So damma at the beginning, the first letter is damma, second last letter is kasra. Ustukhrija, first mutaharrik is what? Damma, and the second last letter has a kasra. Understood? Yes? Stop here today, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.